Well, hello, my soul friends. It is me here um, with another live. It's funny. I was like, I don't know when I can do lives. Too busy, too busy. But it's kind of falling into a nice pattern where my husband teaches martial arts right now, and it's perfect time for me just to pop on here. I've chosen this time because of that, but also I thought maybe more people could join after work and whatnot. But then again, some of you are having dinner. I don't know. Maybe I'll find another time and settle in on that. But welcome to the Soul Nurturer channel. If you're just passing by and you happen to click on this video and you have some curiosity, I welcome your curiosity. And I also invite you just to come on in and pause with me and connect to yourself. And the whole intention of this channel, the Soul Nurturer channel, is for all of us. It's like a space to say, okay, I see you. I get you're a soul having a human experience, and there's a lot that comes with that, right? And this is a place where we talk about those things. Mostly, I talk about transformational tools and soul work and all things related to help you as a soul having a human experience reclaim your essence, reclaim your potential, reclaim your purpose, and nurture that daily. So I feel for all of you out there, everyone on the planet, we're all having our own experiences, and yet there's a collective we share. So welcome in, welcome in. And if it's your first time visiting, I don't get to see who's here until after, I think. Hi, Brittany. I have my regular friends that show up, like Brittany, and thank you for being here. So tonight, what was on my heart to talk about, and this is kind of personal because I was assessing where I'm at. And remember, we are individually the microcosm of the macrocosm, the individual representing the collective. And this is how we're all so deeply connected. Fortunately, we don't all have the same experience at the same time, because that would be really a challenge. If you notice this in your pool of, hello, Cindy from West Virginia, welcome. But if you notice in your, circle of friends and even family, we tend to take turns, thank God, having our moments where we're kind of down, looking in our subconscious material, dealing with those growth opportunities. And some of us are a little bit more buoyed up and having a good time. Fortunately, my husband and I tend to take turns, right? When I'm having a hard day, he's usually in a good space, and vice versa. And there's a quote, maybe I'll look it up today. It always comes to mind when I think of it, but it's, okay, I'm just going to look it up and get back to you, but it's something like this. It's like, spiritual relationships require someone to stay in the boat when the other person is deep diving. Okay. So deep diving to me is soul work. When we go, okay, I've got to go beyond this human experience. I've got to go beyond, listen to the emotions, listen to what's being communicated, drop into my soul wisdom, drop into that place where all is well. And we recognize we are part of the great mystery unfolding. By along those lines, I wanted to tell you that I did put up another guided meditation yesterday because, boy, I was getting so many messages from people after the full moon and around the full moon, and I myself was in my own, story. If you watched the full moon video possibilities, that rings so true for me. Remember, I record these before the full moon, and then I kind of have my own experience. So it was a lot for me, and I'm wondering how it was for you. The full moon certainly invited us to look at the story we're telling ourselves and about our lives, and to write a new story, right? So this morning in meditation, and I knew I was going to do a live right away. I'm getting like this morning, I'm like, definitely going live today. Had an open schedule, and it worked out. Martial Arts Tuesday. This is Soul Nurturing Tuesday for me and you. So I was feeling, no, let me say this. I wasn't feeling, I was hearing from my inner critic. Okay. We all have an inner critic, or a few. And my inner critic was kind of doing this, and tell me if any of you relate to this. By the way, if you're chatting now, I think I have a way to save this, but remember when the video is uploaded after a live stream, I do invite you to go comment under that video, because comments under an uploaded video generates a greater outreach to others in YouTube land. And I'm so blessed. I have people that watch with me all over the world. It used to be the country, now the world. And that's such an, gosh, just, it's a real honor, truly. And I'm humbled, and I'm also very grateful. So, but the more you comment, the more somehow it puts the videos out there in front of somebody who may need a message like this. Okay. So thank you in advance. So the critic was pretty loud this morning. You know, what are you doing? Why haven't you gotten that done yet? Where's this? Where's that? And I was, okay, my critic is very talkative this morning. And I was honestly, I teach self-compassion. I teach trusting the process. I teach all these things, right? But again, I'm a soul having a human experience. And I do a lot of research for everybody in my human experience. And by research, what I mean is I'm stumbling and fumbling too in the human experience. And then I kind of dust myself off and go, okay, what did I learn? What tools do I have? Let's go. So I do practice what I teach. I like to say, live your advice, don't give it, right? So this morning the critic was going, and then I thought, where is my compassion? I almost titled this video, why is it so hard to offer our own compassion to ourselves? Why is that so hard? I have a whole theory on that. We're so wired to see, everyone, right? And we can access compassion for others. Why can't we access it for ourselves? Because it's filtered through our stories, our subconscious mind, our experiences. So it takes time to cultivate that self-compassion. And it starts with honoring where you are. And this is all about liminal spaces, honoring where you are and accepting where you are, and cultivating as much love and compassion for where you are, just like you would when you're talking to a best friend or your child, right? We can open our hearts for them, but we must remember as we open our hearts to others that we need to sit in our own hearts with our own compassion, our own love. And it takes practice, because here's the thing, the inner critic, especially for those of you who were, raised or grew up in a family of origin where it was pretty critical, or a lot of judgment, a lot of feeling not accepted, So oftentimes the voices, not often, this is how it goes. The voices we heard as children become our inner voices. So again, not to shame or blame our parents. They did the best they could. They're probably just doing what their parents did to them. But if your inner voice, we all have an inner critic, no matter how much you work with it, trust me, but it doesn't run my life. And it's not, it used to be every day. Now it's like, oh, wow, you again? And so on. I know how to manage it. But I always say this, that our inner voice needs to be the most loving, compassionate voice that we hear. And it takes some practice in doing that. So have you heard of the liminal space? This is where I found compassion for myself. Wait a minute. You're pushing. It's like pushing against a closed door. No matter how much you push, no matter how much you bang, let me in, the door is shut for a reason, right? Liminal spaces are the spaces of we're not where we used to be, and we're not quite where we're going yet. I have a couple quotes and I will share about it. But ultimately, think about the caterpillar going into the cocoon. And it goes through this whole process that, can you imagine projecting onto the caterpillar how much trust that caterpillar must have? There's another word besides projecting. It's like when you make an animal human, and I can't think of the term. I wonder, Cindy, you're a writer, maybe something about, we make the animal like a human, and there's a word. It's something I am getting an A word, but I don't know what it is. I'll look it up. Anyway, I imagine, can you imagine the trust it takes, right? I mean, they're obviously going on instinct. Okay, it's the time of the year where I'm going to go build a cocoon and I'm going to go in that cocoon and I'm going to dissolve everything that I know, everything that I am, become liquid glue. This is what happens with the caterpillar. Yes, you're exactly. That's what I was getting. Anthropomorphize or something like that. You know what? I'll check with Auntie Google in a minute. But it's like it is. You're right. Anthrop something. Yeah, but you're right. You're on the right track, Cindy. Between the both of us, we'll get it. But dissolves into this liquidy glue. And in that space, when the caterpillar is no longer the caterpillar, there's what is called the imagineal cells. It's like creator put this blueprint of what's next, what's possible. And that is becoming a butterfly. And even then, when it's formed into a butterfly, there's another point of not quite ready to fly yet. When a butterfly comes out of struggles, this is really important, struggles out of the cocoon. And if you were to interrupt that struggle, I tell this story to parents all the time, when kids are struggling, our friends are struggling, that is it. Okay, thank you, Cindy. Bing says anthropomorphism. Yes, that's the word. Thank you. Now, if I could remember to say that next time, that's kind of a tongue twister, but thank you, Cindy. If we were to, like our a family member or kids are struggling and we want to race in there and take away the struggle and make sure they're okay, but it is in the struggle that we grow our strength or grow what is needed for the next version of ourselves. And I just tear up when I say that. And I hope you all hear that. If you're in the midst of a struggle, it's purposeful. You're cultivating something you're going to need where you're going. Okay. Just like the caterpillar or just like the butterfly now struggling to get out of the chrysalis, because in that struggle, in our human eyes, it's like, oh no, it looks painful, but there's a process happening. That butterfly, as it's coming out of the cocoon, we'll say cocoon. I like to say when I'm in my liminal space, I'm cocooning. I'm just in the cocoon. As it's struggling, it's moving the liquid from its torso into the wings. And if it doesn't get the opportunity to do that, movement. In fact, I remember a long time ago, I heard a story, and I don't know if it's real or not. 2 kids watching a butterfly coming out of the chrysalis, struggling, and they go and get a pair of scissors and just cut them out. And the butterfly just flops, like in this engorged torso and little tiny wings. And it was never going to be able to fly because it needed the struggle to prepare itself for flight. Okay, somebody's needing this because I'm about to cry. And I needed that reminder this morning. The reminder that finally my compassion arose. You're okay. The door is not open yet. You're okay. This is a time to practice patience and compassion. The liminal state of place again is, who you were, you no longer are, but you've yet to emerge who you are, or where you've been is complete and you're not yet, the door hasn't opened to what's new. And so this came to me this morning too. I was playing with the thought of it and just what does it feel like to be in a liminal state? And it's can feel very much like a dark night of the soul. And dark night of the souls can go on for a long time. And I suspect a liminal space can feel very long too. So we need to practice that patience, right? But here's the thing. And actually, maybe I'll look at the quotes because there's one quote. I want to say it's from Richard Rohr, but he talks about it's that we need to pause and wait. It's a waiting time, a waiting. But I got this instead. I love to play with words. It's not a waiting, it's a gestating. You're gestating, like a mother, letting that baby grow, or, like for me, writing and gestating the way that I want to write and the book I want to write. It's a timing thing. It's a divine, sacred timing thing. And this requires so much trust and honoring your guidance because, I mean, this is where I was this morning, kind of like, I feel like I should need to be doing something more. This is what's next, And so I just I caught myself and said, this is a liminal space. It's okay, right? Liminal, the word liminal, the root limen, I think is how it said, means threshold. That's why I posted the picture of me walking through a door for this video, because that's what, a liminal state is. We're waiting. I keep saying state and space, so either one, it's interchangeable. The door, I know something new is about to emerge for me. The door is not opening. Anybody have that experience? And also, it's important to recognize that in the liminal space, you can be there because a door shut that you did not want to shut, a life that you had that is no longer your life, a job you had that is no longer your job, a relationship you had that's no longer your relationship. So I think the entry or anywhere in the liminal space is important, but I think in the beginning, if we acknowledge, remember I say grief isn't the death of a loved one, only that. Grief is an adjustment to life no longer what it was. It's an adjustment, a recalibrating, and there's some, the heart we have to tend and mend our heart and our beliefs and all the things that came with that. So grief is very much part of the liminal space. And it's an important step to not miss. It's instead of like, it's okay, I'm in a vision for what's coming. It's all right. I learned something. I'm moving on. It's important to feel. Remember, if you watch my last meditation, it's about feelings are communication. And we want to pay attention to what they're showing us, what they're revealing that needs our healing, right? Okay, I'm going to switch over to my notes because I had some quotes I wanted to share. And when I switch to this, I know my lighting changes and there's not much I can do about it because I have to be able to read my notes. Okay, so, and I did want to say, I made a note of this because I get confused when I post a video and I say, this is a guided meditation, because it's not quite a guided meditation. Mine are more like guided inner work because I'm prompting and I'm suggesting. And so I'm kind of guiding you into your own inner work, but I don't think people understand that. So I just write guided meditation because sometimes I'll get a comment like, well, you talked a lot through the meditation. Well, yes, I'm guiding some inner work. Okay, just wanted to clear that up. Okay, before I go even further into the quotes and everything, this is a good place to pause. And I do have two folks here with me, and I made a note because sometimes I forget to do this, and it's the whole intention of why I'm here. Not here just to talk to a screen. I'm here to say, how are you all doing? How are you feeling in this moment? Is anything I'm saying connecting with you, Cindy or Brittany, or anyone that's listening to this when you listen to it? But truly, and you don't have to if you don't feel comfortable sharing, but send me an email. You both have my email. Anyone watching this, you can send me an email or go to my website, victoriajazwick.com. It'll be in the description, and you can send messages through there or request connection with me. So I really do, from my heart and soul to yours, I really do, as this grows, I want it to feel like a welcome, sacred space, like you can just exhale and be present and feel in like, okay, where am I and how am I doing and what is happening, and what is Victoria sharing that I needed? I love that, Cindy. Yes, feeling like the butterfly ready to emerge. I feel like that too, but I'm also just like surrender, and surrender is a key word to this transformational cycle part called the liminal space, because again, trusting and surrendering, because of the butterflies, like I'm ready to be a butterfly and wasn't ready, so I love it. Yeah. Yep. working to make the plans. Yeah, so liminal spaces are a good time too, as you're feeling the I'm going to emerge, to vision, to ask yourself who this is. I get from Reverend Michael Beckwith this question: who do I need to become in order to fulfill the next vision? I say this is a time, the liminal space, to really, what did you learn from the past? And what are you still carrying in your mind and your being that is not where you're going? It's not aligned with that. So this is where we check our beliefs. We, want to, empty the baggage and travel lightly towards the future. Okay, I'm going to go back over here, but I just wanted to pause and say, hey, I do care about you, and I want you to feel that. And also, another question, if you want to comment, is how do you nurture your soul? Now, I make a distinction between self-care and soul care. So you can nurture yourself. How do you do that? Taking care of your physicality. But what ways do you nurture your soul? And you can comment if you want to now or under the video later. Okay, back to my notes. I just wanted to get some of these quotes here for you. So I just want to say I touched on what a liminal space is, but here's the definition. Liminal space is the uncertain transition between where you've been and where you're going physically, emotionally, and metaphorically. To be in a liminal space means to be on the precipice of something new, but not quite there yet. And I already mentioned this. The word liminal comes from the Latin word limen, which means threshold. Okay. And I was thinking when I do these videos, now I'm going to start talking about, if you dream about certain things, it may indicate where you are. I mean, all dreams are that way, but I was hesitating because your symbology in your dreams is your symbology. Like if you have a dream and you have this very prominent image, I know so many people that want to run to the dream symbology book. And what does it mean? Well, sometimes they're accurate because, again, those are the collective experiences, but it's better to know your personal associations. So I say that as a disclaimer before I say this, that in general, it's a possibility that when you dream about doorways or doors or long hallways or empty buildings or vacant spaces, that might be your psyche showing you that you are in a liminal space. Okay, just wanted to add that on there. And like I said, I think of it as it's a gestational space too. We're growing in who we need to become. It's like it's a rebirthing time, not who I was, and I'm yet to birth in the new me, right? Okay, so let me go to the quotes. Where are they? Okay. I really related to this, and I couldn't find who the quote was from, but I was asking, does anyone talk about liminal period of time? I was doing a little research on this, but this was striking for me because this is what it feels like for me. The transitional period or phase of a rite of passage during which the participant shifts social status, moves into an anonymous phase, and follows, sort of surrenders to the process. I have, felt like that since the pandemic. And, here's the thing. We were all together in a liminal space. All of us. That was what the pandemic was. And I was saying that right at the beginning, like, okay, this is an opportunity. Like, we are in a cocoon. We are all in a cocoon. In fact, I did a workshop at that time online called Sheltered in Soul. Like, just see this not as a punishment or the government's this or that and this is bad and it's a whatever. Where's the blessing here? Where's the possibility for healing? So we were all in that space. And then we came out, kind of, we're done, we're going back in, all that. But and some people, like for me, I learned during that time, I really am an introvert. I really do much better in small groups or with people that I can talk about things that I love and feel fed by. Big groups are too much. So it took me a lot longer to want to come out of my cocoon. And in some ways, I'm not out yet because I'm just like, I'm still not who I want to become. And I don't know how to manage yet this way of being. And one of the things I was thinking about today, part of my shedding was shedding the deeply conditioned, wired in experience of being a people pleaser. And I find I'm slowly, and I slowly come out of my cocoon. Oh, I went right back into my unconscious pattern of being a people pleaser. So I'm trying to train in. So liminal spaces are training in the new way of being. So when that door opens, you're ready. Okay. Okay. So here are a couple of quotes. This from William Blake. In the universe, there are things that are known and things that are unknown. And in between them, there are doors. I love that, William Blake. So it's like being in the unknown. It's like trusting. And again, I invite you to go listen to the meditation because I say this and I will say it again. Trust and faith requires us to surrender to the great mystery, but to also recognize, that you are part of the unfolding mystery. And in that, you are loved and held and taken care of. And I really want to just give that to you. And I suggest you remind yourself, put a Post-it, write it on a Post-it, affirm, I am right where I need to be. I'm part of the great mystery unfolding. All my needs will be met. I'm being taken care of and I am loved right where I am. Okay. Okay. So let's see. This one Richard Rohr talking about most of us have not have much training in waiting. So he calls the liminal space a waiting place. I wanted to share that by him. And then he goes on to say the liminal space, the place of waiting, is a unique spiritual position where human beings hate to be, but where the biblical God is always leading them. It is when you have left the tried and true, but have not yet been able to replace it with anything else. It is when you are finally out of the way. I love that. Boom. Surrender. Like, I often think of us like, we have our vision. When we have a vision, that's connected to God's possibilities for us. But when we have I'm going to do it this way, that old saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Surrender is, yes, I have a vision and I'm prepared for that soul call. But ultimately, I'm trusting it may look differently because I'm trusting God, right? See, when you finally are out of the way, it is when you are between your old comfort zone and any possible new answer. So Richard Rohr I think he has a few podcasts on that. You can go look for him on YouTube. And then there was another one I wanted to read. Oh, it's from John O'Donohue, and it's not popping up. I think that's enough to get the point across. I'm going to see if anybody has any questions. Oracle card to direct the lessons. Let's see. Angel cards to direct the lessons for my soul's journey. Okay. Reading other spiritual right now. Writing from Hindu faith. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think very much so you are in that liminal space. And it is like meditation is important. Dream work is important. These are ways to connect to the guidance. You're using oracle cards. Awesome. What a question to hold on your heart is, show me the way forward when I'm ready and when what is being prepared for me is ready. And that's a thing to think about too. Again, you want to be like, the butterfly that plops out before it was done, preparing to fly. Hello, Lena. Wonderful to see you. Hi, Victoria. I like what John Lennon said. Life's what happens when you're making other plans. Oh, yeah. That's really good. I think you're right. That is the way it goes. Awesome. Peace to you, my dear. Peace to you as well. Okay. So the main message obviously was, and this has been my saying. So one big thing I took away from my Catholic raising when I was a kid, I mean, I used to love this every time this part of church where we turn to one another and say, peace be with you. Peace be with you. And that's just what these lives are about, or any video I do, truly. It's peace be with you. You're not alone. You're not making it up. Things are, especially right now during transformational times, we just need to catch our breath. And I also wanted to share this, that I remember years ago before the pandemic, and I just was feeling like, there's something is shifting, right? Um, and I think I've talked about this on other videos, the ambrosial hours when we wake up like 3, 4, 5 in the morning and we're wide awake. That is called the ambrosial hours, are called the thinning of the veil between the human realm and the spirit realm. But what I've been observing and noticing is that there's a thinning of the veil energetically between our subconscious material and our conscious material. And we're seeing more shadow in the world. We're seeing people leading with their shadow. We're being more like, sometimes like things come out of my mouth. I'm like, whoa, I would never say that. Well, it's because we need to look at everything, reveal what needs to be healed, right? So this is why we need to be more compassionate with ourselves and with others. We need to cultivate a deeper trust for what's happening and what is becoming, what's coming. And remember too, so I do want to bounce off of what you said, Lena. It's not about making plans. It's about connecting to your soul essence. Who did God create me to be? Or what does the universe want for me? And what is waiting to emerge through me as me? And so visioning and doing a vision board, I call it a soul vision board, because you want to connect to your soul. Not from goals, to me, are human. Goals are, I'm going to make this much money and I'm going to do this. And oftentimes those aren't bad, but what I'm saying is oftentimes, remember my distinction, when we're in a human experience, we can be too much in fear, and goals can be created out of fear rather than connecting to your soul and visioning from a deeper sense of who am I and what am I here to create and offer and contribute. And that comes from faith. Okay. And it may not look like, your life may not look like what you imagined, but when you surrender and trust and stay connected to your soul essence and clear and release all the old conditioning, you will emerge with your own unique way of being and your own unique flight, to use the butterfly metaphor, to soar above the previous way that life was and see beyond and see it all with such delight and joy and gratitude for every single part of the journey and every single person, right? Even the ones that challenge us the most, for they are, there's the gardeners of our souls that people want to nurture and love on us. And then there's the sculptors who painfully wake us up to who we're supposed to be. All right, my friends, I think, wonderful, Lena. I'm glad that you found this helpful and you understand. Yes. And I think it's time for me to step out. But if you have any questions, I'll wait for just a moment. Any questions, any other comments before I wrap it up so I can go have my dinner on Tuesday night? Remember, go back and comment once this video is done live. It'll be up on the Soul Nurture channel. Like it. I think some of you have liked it. If you haven't, like it again, or like it, you can only like once, but you can comment as much as you want there. All right. Take good care of yourselves. Truly, if we wake up to this, that we're all here for a unique and beautiful purpose, and everything that we've lived through, has been a growing opportunity. But in this, your own individual liminal space and our collective, there's a lot of shifting going on. Trust the process. Trust that you're okay. You will be okay. And just love yourself forward. Okay. That's it for now. I'll see you next time, everyone. Take good care. Bye.